Well, good Friday morning to you as we jump into the new content of what you can find in the Good Food Network. Good morning. Welcome to this session. My name is Lucas Simmons. I'm your holistic nutrition practitioner. I've been doing this since 2014. I love what I do. And this last year in the Good Food Network and in my social accounts and in my newsletters, everything has been about helping you build a solid metabolic foundation. When your metabolism works well, now we're starting to reduce the burden of stress. It's the best way nutrition can do to get in to reduce that burden of stress. And when we reduce your burden of stress, the secret is we actually make your biochemistry work better. And now we start to reduce what's driving your symptoms. It's that biochemistry, that stress response that drives so much of our symptoms. And I'm not just talking about I'm being chased in a laneway by people. That's not, well, that kind of stress certainly triggers that. But there's a lot of other kind of biochemistry in the body that triggers that. There's the cell danger response, and there's blood sugar imbalances, and there's tuckered out adrenals and a nervous system that's on high alert, and mast cells and a lot of different pieces. So what we've been doing for the last year is working at building a solid metabolic foundation and looking at all the different ways into addressing what it is that is upsetting and kind of throwing off that balance of our metabolism, and why this is one of the biggest drivers of our symptoms, actually. And so each 2 months, we switch to a new topic. And I'm excited to tell you that in the month of May, because this is going to be the tail end of the year-long exploration into metabolism, we'll do a little bit more because I think there's still foundations to be built. But these last 2 months are going to be on the great big regulator of your metabolism, your thyroid. So I'm super excited to have you here. This call and this session is meant to help you see how this month fits together and whether it's a good support for you right now. It's also for the people who are joining us in the Good Food Network anew this month. This is also going to help serve what it is that we're doing, a little behind the scenes tour, if you will, kind of a little bit. So I want to acknowledge that you're coming here today, and I'm so glad you're making some time for this short video. If you've got any kind of symptoms that are tied to thyroid, we'll help you identify some of these. We're going to talk about why this is one of those big needle movers. When we look after the thyroid, we start to regulate a bunch of other stuff. Because that burden of stress goes up, we downregulate thyroid. As we downregulate thyroid, that's your main engine, you go to your backup generator. What's your backup generator? Your adrenals. Oh, well, that's not going to work. Well, it will. That's not true. It will work for a short time, but then it's good, just going to fall apart. And so there's so many pieces to play with here. Let's talk about what the thyroid influences. It influences your energy burning rate, how quickly you burn energy. If you're conserving energy, your body will perceive it needs to conserve energy if the stress burden is high. It also, and that's where it starts to affect your mitochondria, which now has a role to play in the bodily function and how well you can go through a workout, and how well you can work the brain through a task. You need a lot of mitochondria for the brain to function. And it is the thyroid that drives your mitochondria. So how's that working for you? There is also a mood balancing piece with the thyroid. Yeah, your thyroid's a key piece of balancing mood. And your thyroid is also involved in the weight piece of the body, how your weight is working at being balanced out based on what it's perceiving going on in the body. Other pieces that the thyroid have a role to play in is how warm or how cold you are, how well you can build skin and hair and nails. That's why one of the biggest telltale signs of thyroid stuff is you start to thin out your eyebrow hairs, your arm hairs, your leg hairs. Conversely, you start to get more hairs here. Ties in. The thyroid's also involved in all kinds of hormonal things and does have a role to play in your period, if you are a bleeder, in fertility as well. So the thyroid, as you can see, has a really big important role. If you understand that, whatever piece she plays a role in, there's a potential for those pieces to tell us that you're having a hard time. And when you have those symptoms, it tells us that the thyroid is asking for help. So, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling foggy, if you're not quite yourself, if you have normal labs, but you don't feel normal, if the transition through menopause is tricky, if you have gut issues, if you have any kind of autoimmune condition or histamine issue, or adrenals are tuckered out, or mood imbalances, right? Like this list goes on. Do you see how many pieces the thyroid has a role to play in? Yeah. Now, what is the Good Food Network for? Well, listen, it isn't, well, there is more information, but it's more about turning information into small, doable shifts to address whatever it is that's throwing your main topic off course. This month is the thyroid. So, I think one of the things that I've noticed in the people that I'm working with is that I don't think people are missing information. I think they have a lot of information. We live in an amazing time where you can do a lot of research, where you can go on ChatGPT, where your practitioner can give you a supplement recommendation and then you go do 2 hours of research on it just to make sure that it's one that's going to be okay for you. Like, I get it and I understand why this happens, especially the clientele that I serve, because I count myself in there. We tend to be quite reactive. And so we need to be cognizant of what it is we're putting in our bodies. And we want to make sure that whatever it is that we're undertaking will work for us. And I get it. That's one piece of the equation. But we live in an amazing time, yeah? So I don't think you're missing information. I think one of the things that's missing in the body when we have symptoms, gathering information is not going to actually solve our problems. Our body, our physical body, that is where the aches and pains are and the troubles and the things we're worried about. Our body is missing consistent signals of safety and support, especially in midlife. Like, this is the clientele I serve. Your thyroid actually it responds less at this stage of life to the do more and sort of get on top of things. Your thyroid responds quite negatively to that, as a matter of fact. So, the thyroid doesn't need more input, it needs better signals, I think. And it needs these signals to be repeated consistently. I always joke about how don your new superpower, this cloak of consistency, because that's the one piece that I drive home inside of the Good Food Network and in the work that I do with my clients. So, in the Good Food Network this month, we are going to be creating simple food rhythms that your body can actually rely on. That will be those big needle movers to help reduce your burden of stress and take pressure off of your thyroid so she can come back online. I always think of this burden of stress rising in the body. And as this rises, your thyroid goes offline or gets downregulated. So if we support the thyroid to come back online by addressing this burden of stress specifically for thyroid, now your thyroid comes back online. When your thyroid comes back online, your energy is better. Your mood is a lot easier to manage. Your adrenals get a break. Your histamine issues start to go in the background. Your inflammatory stuff, if you have that, starts to go in the background, and so on and so forth. So, I want to talk about some of those key pieces that I see in clients where when I'm taking notes, I'll be writing down like thyroid. We need to look after the thyroid for them. So, I just wanted to point out the top four. Low or inconsistent energy. That's kind of the first bucket of people that I see where you feel like your energy isn't matching your day. That is a clear fire sign of the thyroid because of the thyroid's role in your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are those little, they look like little capsules. If you remember grade 8 biology, your mitochondria are those energy factories of your cells. And if you have low or inconsistent energy, very often it's those mitochondria that are struggling. What is the conductor of those mitochondria? The thyroid. So is it the mitochondria that's the issue or is it the thyroid? Well, it's a little bit of both actually. But when we start to support the thyroid, your mitochondria will work better. Second kind of bucket person I see is where they've got brain fog or their thinking has slowed down and they sort of feel like they're like pushing things aside to go look for where the answer is in their brain. I have a theater degree. Does that surprise you? Yeah. That's the second bucket of people, the brain fog and the slower thinking. So you feel like you're functioning, but you're actually not quite sharp like you used to be. Yeah, there's a little bit of natural piece of that that needs to happen, but it can start to get quite restrictive to your day. And this is the person who goes to their doctor and they're like, I don't know what's going on. And they're like, oh, let's just chalk it up to perimenopause. It's a symptom of perimenopause, isn't it? Or is it a natural function of a body responding to something that's off, maybe? Now, the third bucket of person I see is somebody who's got sleep disruption or wired and tired cycles. It's a bit of the same biochemistry. So they're tired, but they're not actually able to fully switch off. So is this you? Do you find yourself dragging yourself through the day? Do you find certain points of the day where you're really focused and you can actually super get it done? That's amazing for you. Also later, what? Please don't ask me a question because I can't even muster up a answer, a solution to what you're asking. Right? Is this you? Okay, I got a fourth bucket. Final one, I promise. Hormonal and metabolic shift. So, where there's this overlap from your years of menstrual cycles through perimenopause and over to menopause. So, things that used to work don't work anymore, or your period is off, your mood is off, your reproductive health isn't functioning like you've been trying, you've got fertility issues. What else? Weird things start happening. Like this is the era, like the midlife is where some of that weird stuff starts popping up. And I will tell you, it is an indicator. It's a report card actually on how your body's done leading up to this shift, this big hormonal shift. And these problems have been low grade underlying underneath the surface. And at midlife, because of that hormonal shift, it comes to the surface because it's time to deal with it. And it's time to actually put some pieces in place. That's all it's asking for. What are some of those weird things you might see that I would totally tie to thyroid? Candida. Yeah, your thyroid's going to be downregulated. Having a hard time with mold. Your thyroid's having a hard time with it. Having your cholesterol numbers going up. Your thyroid's involved there. You're cold all the time. Everybody in the office works fine, but you need a sweater and an extra warmer at your feet because it's just too cold. Yep. Or that happens as the day goes on and you get cold in the evening. The other one I see is cracked heels. I actually have cracked heels. That's how I know my thyroid stuff is going on. Bumps on your face, these kind of bumps where you look like part witch. That is actually an indication of thyroid struggles as it pertains to skin. Your thyroid regulates a lot of skin stuff and skin repair and the pace at which it works. So the thyroid's involved there. Blood sugar troubles. Every time somebody comes to me with potentially blood sugar troubles, I know I know the thyroid is struggling and is under-regulated. So it's underperforming because that blood sugar trouble is such a high burden of stress. And as that stress goes up, your thyroid goes down. So one of the secrets of addressing blood sugar issues is actually supporting your thyroid. I know. Constipation's been around for a long time. Or shows up and is like so persistent and never leaves, even though you're doing fiber and Metamucil. It's not a fiber issue, it's a thyroid issue. Yeah. So the thyroid sits right at the center of this energy and metabolic health regulation system. So it's why anything that has a thyroid tie to it has the potential of showing up in so many different parts of the body. Do you love that? I don't. I really don't. But also, I kind of do. Because I think if we can make peace with it, we downregulate some of the stress response. How can you maybe make peace with it? What if it's just your body giving you information? What if it's just a report card and a request for something different? Oh, okay. Well, I love that. Let's do a little bit of a behind the scenes so that you can know what it is that we're going to be doing inside of the Good Food Network, because I think that's going to give you a little bit of a hint on, okay, so now I have all these telltale signs and symptoms. Now what? Ah, I'll tell you what. Let's go to the slideshow. To the slideshow. I should do some kind of superhero thing. So, in the Good Food Network this spring month of May, what is it that we are doing? I totally put an image of the mountains because I'm very close to the mountains right now, and it's very exciting. Okay, our main topic for all of May and actually into June is going to be your thyroid, and not just your thyroid, but your thyroid as that foundation builder for metabolic health. Now, one of my favorite parts of being inside of the Good Food Network is that every week we have a live session. It's a 30 to 35-minute session. Huh. I also react to the air here more than in the Netherlands. Okay. It's also because the windows are wide open because it smells amazing. Sorry about that. Should have a glass of water. Okay. One of my favorite parts of the Good Food Network is these weekly Thursday morning sessions. Alberta time, they're 7 a.m. Netherlands time, they're 3 p.m. And they're 30 to 35 minutes every week. And every week I think of it as a different lens to look into the thyroid, to see the different components to which the thyroid is connected, to understand the different ways in to supporting the thyroid. It's not just eat two Brazil nuts a day and your thyroid will function. That's like such a tiny little piece. There's like 82 ways into supporting the thyroid and probably 1,000 more. So, in the month of May, what are those sessions going to be? Now, we do them live. You can access the replay if you can't join us live. But this first week, so next Thursday, we're going to be doing one on your thyroid isn't broken, it is responding, so that you can make friends with your thyroid. In the second week, we're going to talk about the stress thyroid connection and why it's that burden of stress that down regulates your thyroid. We're going to explore why that is and what the mechanism is there. In our third week, we're going to be tying your thyroid in with the nervous system and why it's the nervous system that is the gatekeeper to your thyroid function. So, the two pieces, the two Brazil nuts to look after your thyroid, love that for you. But why is your practitioner not talking about the nervous system piece too? Because they're a little bit missing it. Because the two Brazil nuts a week are not going to do enough. They'll do some, yep, I will not deny it. But is that enough? Well, how's your nervous system piece in this? I guarantee you it needs some help. The fourth and final week of May, we're going to be doing one on the metabolic slowdown, what your body is protecting you from. So, those of us who have slowed down metabolism, what does that look like? And why is it slowing down? Is our body against us? Spoiler alert, never. She's always on team you. But for those of us who are a little bit bigger, why is our metabolism slowing down? For those of us who are cold all the time, why is our metabolism slowing down? For those of us who have low energy or brain fog or cognitive stuff that's really tricky to move through, why is our body slowing down? And what is our body protecting us from? Each of these sessions, we go into some of the biochemistry and we help you identify if this is you. And at the end, I give you three solutions, always three solutions. They're simple to do pieces. That's where the consistency piece starts to work in. I encourage you to pick one of the three. And I do that because I have a mix of people in the network. New people who've never taken classes with me. I also have people who've taken a lot of classes and would love to do one-on-one, but it doesn't feel like it fits for them right now. This is a really nice piece. Or I also have former clients in there. And I actually built this for former clients. Former clients, we start to revisit some of those pieces that we've talked about in our one-on-one calls. So you get the reminder of it. But you also get the updated version of what the to-do pieces are. There's brand new pieces. Anchor your meals is one of my favorite things, and I'm now doing it with all of my clients. That's only in the last month. So that's why, former clients, this totally works for you. Okay. Now, in the Good Food Network, you have more than those sessions. You have access to a lot more. We do a live class, and most people will only hear about this live class because for some reason the network stuff doesn't come to them. But I do a live class every month inside the Good Food Network. You can take just the live class by itself. Or if you join us in the network, it's included. And it's $5 more a month to get the whole network, or 10 if you're not on my newsletter. I know. I know it doesn't make sense. You let me worry about that. So, our 2 hour class this month is one that I haven't run in 2 years. So, I'm going to update it a little bit. It's called SOS Cholesterol: Why Cholesterol is Your Body's Life-Saving Mechanism at Work. So, we're doing this the third Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. Alberta time and 5 p.m. Netherlands time. Yeah. Now, we also, because that's not enough, of course, we have recipes. Every month, there's 5 recipes. And it's the same recipes as what is on my subscription service for those who get my recipes. And this month, they are spring specific. They're also aimed at the thyroid. They're also spring foods that support the liver. The beautiful part about the thyroid is when you look after the liver, you start to improve thyroid function. And in traditional Chinese medicine, spring is the season of liver. Oh, do you see how there's so much thought and intention put into what it is I do? So this month we have 5 recipes, and I put these 2 images to remind me what 2 of the recipes are. We have an eggs and cottage cheese high protein breakfast as one of the options. And then we have a pot roast stew as the second one. Most of the recipes are low histamine. The eggs and cottage cheese one is not, but every other recipe this month for sure is low histamine. So I always give you gluten-free, dairy-free, low histamine options if you need them for those who have food sensitivities. Oh yeah, and there's a weekly food challenge. So every week there's also a, hey, here's a food for this week that's really good for you. This week it's actually eggs. So I did that because the recipe is in May 1st. So eggs are great for adrenals, which is what we were covering on Monday when I did the weekly food challenge. Next week, we're going to switch into foods for the thyroid. Turns out eggs are really good for the thyroid too. I know. I'm confusing you. I don't care. Seasonal eating is where we head to next. That's another module available that you can access. You don't need to access everything, but you can. And every month or every time there's a new seasonal change, I suppose, we change the season. We talk about why eating seasonally is such a benefit. You get a bundle of recipes, you get a list of foods, you get an idea on how to move through the season. This is a piece that I share with clients when we're working one-on-one. It's the piece that sends it to the next level. When you implement the recommendations we start with, when you slide in the seasonal eating piece, this synergy starts to work and everything starts to function so much better. So this is kind of like the bow on top of the box that just makes it a beautiful gift. So I now have it as part of what you can access when you join the Good Food Network. You just open the module and watch the video, download your handouts, and off you go to the races. You also have access to the Vitality Thyroid class. So this class on its own is 80. And in the Good Food Network, when you join us, you get this included in the cost of your monthly experience, where I give you a coupon so you can have this for lifetime for free. Why? Because it's a class I did at the start of the pandemic. It's a deep, deep, deep dive. And it's a class that requires you to take your time going through it, like 3 months. The videos are not 3 months worth. The videos are probably 3 hours total. But the work outlined in there is about 3 to 6 months worth of work. So you need to hang on to this for some time. So, in this 3 hour exploration, you learn how a deep comprehension of how your thyroid works. You pinpoint what is behind your thyroid woes yourself. And then we start to get into those foods that help, the foods that hinder. And then, of course, we get you building some of those solutions on looking after the thyroid. So, when you join us in the Good Food Network, you can access this included in the cost of your subscription, and you access it for life. Now, the thing to know is that everything is on replay. There is no need to attend live. You certainly can. The only live sessions we do are that Thursday morning session and our live class. And both of those live sessions end up actually being put in the modules for the replay. So if you're not there, you just watch it afterwards. So you can do everything at your own pace, and you get immediate access as soon as you register all month long. And on the 1st of next month, I shift things over. So I'm going to end this slideshow piece of this session today with a little reminder that your thyroid does not respond to big one-off changes. Your thyroid actually responds quite well to the small things you do consistently every day. Consistency is your new superpower, pal. So that is a little of what you can expect to get when you join us in the Good Food Network. Is this something that would work for you? Give it a ponder. I'm going to give you another little piece to give you a bit of a taste test of what it is that we do inside of the Good Food Network. Remember, I was talking about those Thursday morning sessions and how I always have three solutions in each of those videos. I mean, you could do 12 recommendations over the month. It's a lot. It's too much for most people. But that's why I tell you to just pick one. But you can have the whole list of things if you want. I'm not gatekeeping it. I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste test into some of what it is that we do. So, in particular to the thyroid, I wanted to choose this next one to focus on. So, we're going to do a little, we'll call it a mini experience. It's called the protein pause. So, I want you to try this for the next 2 days. Maybe not today because you want to think about what it means and then you start tomorrow. Before you eat anything in your day, whether it's a meal or a snack, I want you to pause for a moment and I want you to ask yourself, where is my protein coming from in this meal, in this snack? Where is it on my plate? You don't need to change anything. I'm just asking you to notice. And starting to pay attention to that kind of information starts to build the capacity to now prioritize protein. I could tell you to bring protein in, but that's like helping you build the second floor of your house before we even put a foundation or even a level one. You first have to know how much protein you're having. And when you can see, like, where's my protein coming from today, that's your foundation. Do that piece. So start with that. Yeah, you might even carry that awareness into every meal choice for the next couple of days. And then just notice it. Are you consistently eating protein over the whole day? This is how you're going to take this information and run with it. So first notice it, and then notice, are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it at every meal or just some meals? Is it something I only think about when I'm depleted or when I'm hungry? Is that the case? That was the case for me. Or do you tend to accidentally undereat earlier in the day because you just are so excited about getting through your day? Won't that tell us some information? It will totally tell you some information. I know, I'm about the little things. I'm not a grand gesture person. No, we're about simplifying. Okay, why will this work? I'm going to encourage you to pay attention. I'm going to tell you the question again so you can remember this. Where is my protein coming from today? Okay, why does this work? Well, your thyroid relies on a steady supply of building blocks to support your energy output because she is the grand poobah of your energy. Protein has a really big role to play in actually stabilizing blood sugars. Protein helps reduce the stress load on your system. Protein, when you have protein, you actually start to downregulate that burden of stress. And as you do that, your thyroid can come back online. Just by paying attention to where my protein is in the day, well, I'm guaranteeing you, if you're paying attention to where your protein is, you're going to pay attention to how it makes you feel, and then you're going to notice, and then you're going to change it. You can't just you have to have protein in every meal. Okay, that's nice. Now you're doing what somebody outsourced to you. You skipped a step. You skipped a step. I know. Okay. Other reasons why. When protein is inconsistent, your body's going to compensate by running faster and harder later in the day. That's where you get the I can't sleep, I can't regulate my emotions. My anxiety shows up as the day goes on. My histamine issues, I get a histamine dump at night. That's how I see it. So this is not necessarily about eating more. It's really about evening out the demand that's placed on your system and nourishing you through it. So we're not trying to perfect the diet. We're just noticing where your body might be running on too little fuel too often. So I'm going to tell you the question again. Where is my protein coming from today? And here are more prompts for reflection. Am I consistently including protein across my day? Is it something I only think about when I'm already depleted or hungry? And do I tend to accidentally undereat earlier in the day because I just am so excited about getting the things done? That tells us the pattern that your body relies on for a lot of different biochemistry. So our life hack way in is to fuel you so you can do the things because you obviously are super stoked about being in the world because that's what's happening. Yeah, I know. It's really quite simple. This is the piece that is so surprising to me when I talk to clients and I'm like, well, this is what we're doing. And they're like, but it's not a restrictive diet. I'm like, I know. I know. It's a little bit underwhelming, and our nervous systems are primed to look for something super drastic and dramatic. And when it seems so small, we tell ourselves, well, why would I waste time on that? It's not going to work for me, which is also an indication of where your nervous system is at. But if we just start with, where's my protein on my plate? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so listen, I want to give you a little bit of a before and after picture. I put these notes together because this is what I see in people I've worked with, including Luca Simmons, my worst client. I am my worst client. Anyway, so before, feeling tired, even though I've rested, like I was the hit snooze 9 times in the morning. My before picture, I had brain fog. I actually had such inflammation in my hands that like I worked in a kitchen at the time and I had such a hard time cutting vegetables on certain days. Brain fog that would come and go. I've seen this in clients super frustrated because they run the tests with their medical doctors and their doctors say, you're in the normal range. But why don't I feel normal? In that gaslighting piece of like, must all be in your head and probably you're depressed. And here's an antidepressant. Many of us get this. I was one of those people. Or you've tried different things and there's no clear rhythm, there's no plan, and they were grand gestures. So that's the before picture. What about the after picture? What can it look like once you start to downregulate some of this? Once you start putting in the very boring, unsexy pieces I'm talking about, like where's the protein on my plate? Luca, that can't shift things. You'd be surprised. Oh my God, it's becoming a new handout for clients, isn't it? Yeah. What's a good after picture? Well, more steady, predictable energy throughout the day. And now it's easy for me to get out of bed in the morning. I actually get up before my alarm, especially if I'm in a house somewhere where I haven't got blackout curtains, because the sun actually wakes me up, because I'm really working to reinsert myself into the natural rhythms. Clearer thinking, less mental heaviness. I hear that from clients actually quite a bit. A better understanding of what it is that your body is asking for. Would this be something you want to work towards? Do you want to have a clear understanding of what it is that she's asking for? Or is this maybe what you would like? Here's an after picture I really like. A simply daily and weekly rhythm of food and support that feels doable and manageable and okay moving forward. Nothing we do in the Good Food Network is extreme. This is all about making your body feel supported again through simple consistency. And when we build that consistency in, that is how we create biochemical safety in the body. And for the next 2 months, we're doing it through the lens of the thyroid. So if this feels like something you might like to explore this month and perhaps into June, I invite you to join us in the Good Food Network. Now, it's $40 a month to join. For anybody who's on my newsletter, you get a loyalty rate with $5 off because I want to make sure that you feel loved because I feel loved when you sign up for my newsletter. And I know you like a deal. I want you to have a good deal. I want you to feel good. So the price is $5 less in my newsletter. So if you got sent to this video from the newsletter, go back to the newsletter and use the link in there to join us because that's going to give you $5 off. I have a third price point for former clients, and it is $5 even lower. So for my past clients, it's $30 a month. You need to email me directly. Just hit reply on the email that sent you to this video, or send me an email. You know how to get a hold of me because we've worked together before. I'll set you up with that rate because I need to send it to you manually. And I feel super gross and salesy when hey, it's been 8 weeks since we worked. Do you want to join the network? No one ever does because it falls on deaf ears. Yeah. If you are ready to implement some of these ideas and you want to take this work further, I'd love for you to join us inside the network. So you get live sessions, you get deep dives, you get recipes, you get weekly food challenges, you get seasonal support. There's a chat function too where you can ask questions. So There's a little bit of a risk reversal here that I want to highlight. You can join us for 7 days, and I will give you a full refund if you catch me in those first 7 days. I will absorb the $5 I lose to the payment plan or to the payment people, Stripe, when you join, because I'm pretty sure you will want to stick around. Yeah. If you realize it's not for you, I will fully refund you. If you take those first 7 days to dive and go, it's not what I wanted, I'll give you your money back. So this is for you if you want less guessing. This is for you if you want more steady support. If you're ready to let go of the big dramatics of like big band-aid solutions. If you're ready to support through food and rhythm, I'd love for you to join me. Either way, I'm really glad that you're here exploring this with me. So if you don't decide to join us, totally cool. If you do decide to join us, even cooler, I give you a gold star. Course. It helps me continue to be able to provide materials like this to people. So it helps support my business so that I can keep showing up to share some of the things that I'm learning. So listen, I want you to know your body is not broken. Your body is merely responding to patterns. So our goal in the network is to build better patterns. We want to build better patterns for your body. When you do this, your thyroid function can start to come back online. Yeah, this is your main engine in the body, pal. She is the grand conductor of the symphony that is you. I always talk about like being human is a thyroid sponsored act. Yeah, totally. When your thyroid works well, everything else starts to fall into place. It's often one of the first organs to go out of balance when there is any kind of stress in the system. And it's sometimes the last one to come online, which is why I put it at the end of our year-long exploration into metabolism. So I look forward to having you join us. If you have any questions, I've dropped a link below this video, and I have it in the email as well that sent you here. Book in for a call, discovery call, I call it. We'll chat for 30 minutes and we'll see what it is that you need help with, and then we'll get you on your way and set you up with what it is you need. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing you, not you, but you inside the Good Food Network. Take care, everybody. Salut, à bientôt.